Let's go, baby. One of the very best players in the transfer portal is committed to the West Virginia Mountaineers. How lucky are we? How lucky are we?
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, guys? Welcome in. My name is Mountaineer Paul. I am your host. This is Locked On West Virginia. They did it, man. Outbidding hated rival, Virginia Tech for the services of the best pass rusher in the portal remaining. Jamori Robinson is a Mountaineer. Welcome, Jimmori. This episode of Locked On West Virginia is brought to you by FanDuel. From the whistle to the final drive, FanDuel makes the NFL playoffs even more exciting. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets. That's if you win that first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. So here we go, man. We got him. It's over. It's done. It's in the bag. Put the fries in the bag, right? Jimmori Robinson, you are a Mountaineer, and I couldn't be happier. Somebody said Zach Alley's doing work. That he is, fellas. That he is. Man. You know, I'm almost at a loss for words. And can I just have a couple flowers? I put it on the X post, or I was just kidding around, but can I have a couple flowers? I think a couple of us were reading the tea leaves throughout the process on this. And then, you know, not only the tea leaves, but I had a couple people, you know, that I trust. It was just, I couldn't understand the delays. I couldn't understand that part of it. I couldn't, you know. But I felt a lot better once we saw that he was enrolled at West Virginia. So that helped. No doubt about it. That helped. So what is West Virginia getting in Jamori Robinson? Well, he's 6'5", 250 pounds, 6'5", 250, guys. It's rare. You just don't see it on the edge often. He entered the transfer portal on December 28th and was one of the top players available in the portal. He was a JUCO All-American, first-team All-American. American Athletic Conference Defensive Player of the Year, guys. The American's a good conference, right? There's a lot of Power 5 players in that conference. There's a lot of NFL players in that conference. There's a lot of good players in the American Conference. You can make a case that the best American teams are better than a lot of Group of 5 teams, right? Or Power 5 poor teams, whatever you want to call it. 43 tackles, 17 tackles for loss, and 10.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. Pretty wild, man. Pretty wild. And you look at this guy, he comes off the edge where he's got elite length and strength. And then the twitch, you see, it's elite. It is. It's NFL caliber twitch coming off the edge. We haven't had a guy coming off the edge like this in Morgantown since Bruce Irvin. That's a fact. That's a fact, man. Pat McAfee and company mentioned this on their show today, by the way, which I knew that's who they were talking about. What other defensive end we have been playing against, or will be paying or competing against? He had a 78, pretty strong run. Let's see, 78 in Pro Football Focus, 82 in pass rushing, 86.2 in run, or 82.1 in run defense, 86.2 in pass rushing, 31 hurries as well, 4 to quarterback hits. He's got 1,300 snaps in his career, but he really came on really in this past year. Just everything came together for him. This is a splash. This is a big splash. A lot of this info, by the way, I've gotten from Keenan over at Rivals. So I'm just kind of jumping through his article that he wrote. I highly suggest going to Rivals and reading on WVsports.com. He's got a lot more. but this was the premier guy available. The guy from Texas that just went in is up there. But this guy is truly an impact player and somebody that you can see in this 3-3-5 defense manning one of those outside linebacker spots in a 4-3 defense. He can put his hand in the dirt and rush the quarterback and do that. And here's the thing, at 6'5", 250 pounds, he's going to play the run too. That's why he's got so many TFLs. This is the biggest pickup. This rearranges my list, by the way. Just so you know, my list changed with this pickup. Just ahead of Coach Junior, Jimmori Robinson has now landed. And it's really not that close. I think, corners can be just as impactful as defensive ends and pass rushers for sure. But I think that Robinson is an element that we just haven't had. When's the last time we had a guy that could really come off the edge like this? Go watch his tape, guys, if you haven't checked it out yet. He screams off the edge with technique, with power, with speed, and he's got a bevy of moves that truly he just has it all, everything you want. And I think he's probably looking to, if I had to guess anyway, probably up his stock this year and get a higher grade in the NFL draft, because even though he's a little bit older, but by the way, he's 24 years old. He's old. He's going to give himself a pretty good grade even still. Got to replace Ty Bradley. Got to replace Ty French, who didn't. He was basically kind of a bust, honestly. We were expecting more out of him. This is not the same kind of player, right? I mean, Ty Bradley was good, but Jamori Robinson, man, that's that dude right there. So I think, we'll probably see him with the Pat McAfee logo above his head at some point later on today. So I'm excited about this, y'all. I am. I think, like I said, reading the tea leaves over the past couple of days, being told by certain sources this was going to happen, finding out that he was enrolled at West Virginia was a big deal. That pretty much solidified it. And then, reaching out to certain people out on the other end of the spectrum of the UTSA side of things, and finding out that he was coming. So there was a lot to like about it. So it's a big impact. And I think Zach Alley and crew have done a great job here. What kind of impact is it going to make, though? I think that's worth talking about, too. And what else could it do for us? Because, sure, he's going to make an impact on the field, but what else can he do? Because spring is still coming around the corner, guys. Stick around. We can talk about that next on Locked On West Virginia. And this episode is brought to you by Prize Picks, the place to get real money sports action with over 10 million members and billions in winnings. Prize Picks has changed the game in daily fantasy sports. Whether it's the playoffs or regular season, Prize Picks has made it easier than ever to win big while enjoying all the football action. Now it's playoff time, and there's no better way to get in on the action than with Prize Picks. And here's how it works. You simply pick more or less on at least two players. If your picks hit, you win up to 1,000 times your cash. That's right. No lies. 1,000 times your cash, just by making a few simple picks. For me, it's all about the hot takes this season. Like I said earlier, I'm looking at Lamar Jackson for more than 250 to beat Kuz's Buffalo Bills, and Travis Kelce to have more than 70 receiving yards. It's fun to predict and easy to play. Plus, with Prize Picks Flex Play, you can have double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. And with the app, you get the winnings fast, sometimes in as little as 15 minutes. Why not do it? Ready to run your game this football season? Well, download the app, use code LOCKEDONCollege to get $50 after you play that first $5 lineup. That's right. You get $50 just for playing the game. Come on. Don't wait. Take your game to the next level with Prize Picks at Prize Picks. Run your game. And we're back on Locked On West Virginia talking Jimmori Robinson and the impact that this has made. Okay, so I think this does a lot for a lot. So, if you didn't check or if you haven't checked, at last look, West Virginia has the 13th ranked portal class in the Big 12. Pretty bad. Pretty disrespectful, in my opinion. I do not think that's where this class will end up. But that's where they've got us. And I understand why. A lot of three of the Jack State players aren't exactly highly rated portal players necessarily. There's a couple Division II guys on there, one from an HBCU, one from just regular Division II. You've got JUCO guys on here. You got a Wyoming guy on here. Like, let's just go over this list one more time and update it, right? Obviously, in reverse, we had Jimmori Robinson, Max Brown, Tykees Crawford, Devontae Golden Nelson, who has decommitted today, by the way. I posted that on X earlier. He told me that basically it was too crowded. He also told me that I posted the wrong picture up of him. So I'm sorry, Devontae, we're putting the wrong picture up. But you're decommitted now, so I don't really care. Just kidding. Wyoming edge rusher Braden Siders, who we got a bookend duo. I love this kid, fellas. Siders is a really good pass rusher, just so y'all know, in his own right, and comes off the edge with reckless abandonment as well. 6'3", 240, 50 pounds. Another good pass rusher to add to this list. It's getting exciting around here. Virginia Union safety William Davis. Obviously, that's one of the Division II guys. Then you had Robbie Martin, which is 4-star guy. Wyatt Minor was a walk-on. That's one of those guys that probably gives us a hit on our overall ranking. Colorado State linebacker Chase Wilson, I think, is going to be possibly the gem of the class. I think it's very well be as impactful as Jamori in a lot of ways because he's smart. He knows how to call a defense. I think he's really similar to Reed Williams in a lot of ways. I can see you've got Jeff Castile, who knows how to run the 3-3-5 as well as anybody, and Zach Alley paired up on that side of the ball. And I'm thinking of past players and the roles they played on these defenses. And now I see these players being plugged in. Bruce Irvin, Julian Miller, even though that wasn't that back in those days quite as far. It's close, 2010. Pretty crazy, man. Reed Williams, and then this guy's also name is Chase Wilson. So similar to me. I keep calling him Reed, actually. Justin Harrington, who, if he's fully healthy, could be the most talented transfer in the entire portal, guys. Like the entire for us, our portal, not the entire portal. Our portal picks. I'm still going to give the edge to our boy we just got, but Harrington's a guy, right? If he's fully healthy, he makes a huge impact for us. A 6'3" safety, Robert Sands vibes. We talked about that. Best offensive threat we got maybe is Ty Edwards, and we talked about him as well. I've gone over all these guys once before, I think. But I love Ty Edwards as a full-on C.J. Donaldson replacement. He's as physical as C.J. and faster. I think he's a one-cut running back, very decisive, and he has better speed than C.J. But I'm not saying that he'll be a better fit than C.J. or that he's overall better, but I think he does some things better and is certainly as good or can be as good. Then you talk about, and Kuz had this better yesterday, Kimo Macaliole. There we go. Got it. Who's the converted defensive lineman that will be transformed back into an offensive lineman again. He's really good. I think, you look at his high school tape, absolute freight train. Similar to, he reminds me a lot of William Reed, not Reed Williams. Too many Reed Williams and Reeds going on here. He reminds me a lot of William Reed, the Princeton offensive lineman, the way he just manhandles people. Justin Terry, which was a big pickup for us. And this is, by the way, this is from 247. I'm just going using their site, going in the reverse here. Michael Coates Jr., number 2 on my overall list. A starting corner, absolutely. Bookend one of the field, or we'll set in one end of the field and be a lockdown corner. And in my opinion, is the very most talented corner we have ever gotten out of the portal. So that's including Beanie Bishop. And I'm talking about without knowing what Beanie would have done. Listen to me before you yell at me. Obviously, what Beanie went on to do, I'm not saying Coates will do that. I'm talking about before they play, like when you're evaluating these guys, nobody saw Beanie doing all that. Nobody did. Just like nobody saw Rasul Douglas being what he is now. So I think Coates has the potential to be all Big 12 kind of guy. I do. And love what he's all about. So as in a physical press man corner, I think he'll shut down half the field. So we'll see. Devontae Golden Nelson, unfortunately, no, that's not the same guy. Devontae Golden Nelson's another corner from Akron. I forgot all about him. He's also pretty good. If you go watch his tape, could be a depth piece, could be a starter. He's one of those in the middle. Then the big day, I think the 8th was one of our biggest days because that's when we got UT Chattanooga safety Jordan Walker, who is a guy that if you look at how he moves on the field, he moves like a Power 5 player. But he's not going to come like this highly rated because he played at UT Chattanooga, obviously. Then Fred Perry, one of our higher rated guys, probably one of their 4 or 5 highest rated guys, comes along with him. And then also Derek Carter from over there at Jackson State. So, another depth piece, possible starter, at least going to have a chance to earn it. Another nice depth piece in Iowa tight end Johnny Pascuzzi. Haven't seen enough out of him yet to know. Couldn't find a lot of tape. Didn't see his high school tape yet. I think he's probably going to be in that Traylon Davis mold, but we shall see. And then you move on to, obviously, Cam Vaughn, who is, in my opinion anyway, this was outside of this one just now, I was most excited about Cam Vaughn's commitment. It just really made me happy, man. I think he is going to impact this team in a big way. He's legit 4.2, 4.3 speed. I guess I need to turn that back off again. I thought I turned I turned off the super chats, and I'm still getting them. I want to answer this because you paid so much. AJ in Arizona, thank you for your super chat. For those of you listening on podcast, super chats are on YouTube or when somebody pays money to have a question read. I'm going to read this question out loud because he paid almost $20. He said, with all these high-end additions, where do you predict we finish in the Big 12 standings next year? Love your show, Paul. I'm a native from Wheeling. Guys, please don't send money on here anymore. I don't get it. I get a small portion of it. YouTube keeps 20 or 30%. I can't remember. Kuz could probably tell you in the comments. And then Locked On also keeps another 20% of all my YouTube earnings. By the time it gets to me, I get very little of it. And the money we get comes from a pot. It's kind of like how everybody's doing in a lot of ways. But anyway, it's not really here nor there. I have ways you can donate to me, especially if you're in my Discord. You can go on X and ask a few people, or you can ask some people in the chat. They might be able to get you the Discord server name, or if you come find me at Paul Mountaineer after the show on X. Oh yeah, Chaz saw Beanie coming. God dang it, forgot Chaz. But yeah, if you guys, and for those of you listening on podcast, I did it again. I'm supposed to be getting out of this. I read a comment and just reacted to it rather than reading what it says. Bama25, one of my listeners, told me 2 years ago that Beanie Bishop was going to be an incredible player, and he said that he was the 3rd guy at Minnesota, but he thinks he has the potential to be really good. He was all over that, so I got to give him his flowers. So yes, to answer your question though, AJ, and I'll get and just find me guys on X or Discord or somewhere we can talk about PayPal or Cash App or whatever if you want to support me that bad money wise. I'd rather just have a repost tweet this out, repost it, comment, all that. So as far as in the Big 12 standings, I would really like to get through spring because we're going to have a couple more portal guys come in then, I believe, as well. And then also, I want to see what this team looks like. I want to hear the coaches talk. I want to see Big 12 media days. Like, I want all that to happen. But if you want my early indicator, I would say we'll finish in the top 5 or 6 first year. I think this is going to be a really good. We have a potential to be a really good team, a top 3 team in the Big 12. But I don't want to be just completely blind. This is the first year for Rich Rod. We don't have a lot of quarterback experience. We don't know if Jalen Henderson's going to win the job, if Nico's going to win the job. If Nico does win the job, he's got a lot to clean up, and he's a good runner, but is he Pat White? No. So I don't know. We have really good running backs, and I have major concern about our offensive line still, although I am a huge Xavier Bosley fan. I'm a huge Livingston fan. I'm a big fan of how they build offensive lines in the past, but there are a few. We need William Reed, flat out. We need William Reed. He told me today, by the way, if you guys are just joining the show, Princeton offensive line tracker William Reed told me today West Virginia is still very much in the mix for his services. We are not out of the mix because he promised me he would tell me if we ever actually fell out of the running. I said, you don't have to tell me where you're committing. Just tell me if we're out of it so I can report that and know that. And then still, even after over a week after he left us, we are not. We're in segment 2. Let's crack this do. But yeah, I think, anywhere in the top 6 is a good right now. As we get closer to the season, AJ, I'll move that up or down accordingly. Right now, it's hard to tell, man. I don't even know what the depth chart looks like yet. So let's get all that sorted out, and I'll give you guys better indication on where I think. So let's go on a quick break. On the other end of the break, I'll talk about the rest of the guys that we brought in that I really like, and a couple, I'll be honest about a couple others too. Stick around. This is Locked On West Virginia. And this episode is also brought to you by FanDuel, guys. That's right. You know it. From the first whistle to the final drive, FanDuel makes the NFL playoffs even more exciting. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets. That's if you win. The third $300 to keep the action going at that. FanDuel's app is easy to navigate with a variety of bets to keep every game exciting. Plus, when you win, you get paid instantly. No waiting around for your winnings. Whether you're betting on your favorite team or just looking to add some extra excitement to your life or the playoffs, FanDuel has you covered. All you have to do is visit FanDuel.com and get started with $300 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Make this playoff season unforgettable with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the National Football League. All right. Here we go. Let's talk about the few guys we have left on the list to talk about as far as incoming transfers that I really like and some that I just don't know about. Like I just talked about Johnny Pascuzzi. I have no idea what he's going to be. He could never see the field. He could be an elite player. He could be an elite blocker. I think he's closer to a blocker than anything else, but he did have a 40-yard catch last year, I saw. So I don't know. I mean, he hasn't shown a lot, obviously, yet, but he's still really young in his career, too. So we'll see. Iowa's got great history. They could be tight end U. Maybe Stanford is in that conversation, but yeah. So Cam Vaughn, we went over Cam Vaughn. I think he's the most impactful offensive player we've gotten outside of – it's in between him and Ty, right? The running back of the Northern Iowa. North Carolina linebacker Ashton Woods is an interesting one. 6'3", 225 pounds, physical specimen at the linebacker spot. He's also a redshirt freshman. From a talent perspective, he is there. He's got it all. I don't know if he's going to make the field next year. I do think he'll play. I don't think he'll start right away. If he does, we probably got more issues. But we need some more linebacker help too. And then obviously we got the Catawba College running back L.J. Turner, Youngstown State wide receiver Cyrus Traw. That's how he says it. So those were big commits too. And I thought about, I love Turner's game. And honestly, everything that Ty Edwards is, Turner could be. I love his game too, man. I really do. Cyrus Traw is the best route runner we've had in 6 years. Maybe Sam James gives him a small run for his money, but like we haven't had a guy that can run routes. No, Hudson Clement. I'm sorry. Hudson Clement was a good route runner. Cyrus Traw is a very, very, very good route runner. Go watch the tape at Youngstown State. Man, does he just leave dudes in the dust coming in and out of breaks. I love his tape, and I project him to be a starting slot. That's just me, though. And I could be falling in love with his route running and not everything else that you got to have. Obviously, then we had Fresno State, Texas A&M quarterback, former Fresno and Texas A&M quarterback Jalen Henderson, who I think is going to win the starting job. People hate me when I say that. I'm sorry. That's just my opinion. I want Nico to win it. I've said this. Listen to everything I'm saying before you kill me in the comments. I want Nico to win it. I'm rooting for Nico to win it. But looking at it just from my eyes, what my eyes tell me, I think Henderson's going to give him a run for his money, guys. And Rich Rod, neither guy has experience in this system. They both got I think Henderson might have one or two more starts, but they're like similarly, they played the same amount of ball. Neither one of them are seasoned veterans. And so you look at it and thinking, Max Brown's a guy that if you go watch just do me a favor. Go to Max Brown and go on X, click on his profile, and watch him throw the football in his rehab. He does trick shots. He does the sidearm under the arm. He does this thing where he jumps in the air, does a 360, and throws it 65 yards down the field. Like, he's got insane arm talent. I don't know what he's going to do for us this year. He wasn't very good at times at Florida. He was pretty good at Florida at times, but he wasn't very good the last spot he was at. So I don't know what it is. I'm just saying I'm not counting all three of these guys out, but I think I think Henderson's got a shot to win the job. We'll see. I hope Nico wins it, but you never know. So Jared Bowie was an interesting pick. That's another wide receiver from Martinsburg. A lot of people are high on him. He's only got 1 year of eligibility remaining, so he's put up or shut up year. Here's one of my more critical ones that people kind of get mad at me for as well. Walter Youngbear, transfer from Tulane. I have questions about him, guys. I think he is a strong, stout offensive lineman, but he's not a great athlete like we've had at the guard spot. Like, he's no Tomas Rimac, obviously. He's a completely different size. Like, you look at our guards in the past few years, they're long, athletic kind of guys. And this is not exactly – this is a bowling ball kind of guy, right? He's a guy that – which is why he plays inside. He's not the most fleet of foot. But is he strong? Yes. If he gets his hands on you, you're not moving. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he comes up to this level and dominates, and I was wrong all along. But I have a couple questions about that one. I think everybody just assumes we got him in the portal from the O-line. I think there's some things there that I need to go watch more tape. I'm basing this off of like 15 minutes of game footage. So I really should go watch more, but I was not impressed. And I watched 3 different games, just like, fast forwarding through until the offensive series. And I watched like 3 or 4 series and 3 different games, I think it was. And he just never stood out. Like, there was just some things I didn't enjoy, but I'm not a professional scout, right? I'm just giving you my opinions here. So to finish it up, because we're not going to have time to do every single one that's left, I don't think. Or maybe I've already kind of done all of them. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, I think a lot of these that are left on the list. Obviously, we lost Josiah Jackson, Raleigh Collins, Josiah Trotter, TJ Crandall, Jalen Anderson, which was, he could have been nice to have this year just with the running back returning. Ryder Burton, Trey Lathan, Tomas Remack, Will Dixon, which was a pretty decent loss. Sully Weidman, which we could have definitely stood to keep. Aiden Garnes, C.J. Donaldson, Rick Darius Farmer, Johnny Williams was a huge loss. Hudson Clement was a big loss. Jaheim Joseph, Traylon Ray was an enormous loss. Kyle Altuner for our future was maybe the biggest loss. I swear to God, he could have been another Zach Frazier type player. I don't know if he'll ever get that good, but he reminded me of Zach coming out of college. We did keep Justin Terry around, and then Lucas Austin left, which is another huge loss for the future. We also lost Bryce Biggs, Aiden Ellis, Tyler Kane, Trey Bowers, Derek Berlitz, and Donovan Grayson. So, a lot to replace, and especially on the interior. But, man, we're set up to do some big things, and I think it's going to be fun. We're going to have a good time. West Virginia's set up for success. We got one of the biggest pass rushers we've ever had out of the portal, guys. So let's be excited. Let's support these guys, and let's just let it play out. We'll see. Obviously, the portal season's over for now. This is probably the last commit we'll have for a while, unless William Reed comes along. But outside of him, I truly do think we may not see much movement. So thanks for joining me. Thanks for getting me over 4K. If you're just new again around here, hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. Join my Discord. It's free right now. Won't always be free. Find me on X at Paul Mountaineer. It's just my name backwards. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen, for being part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We talk about your team, the Mountaineers, every single day. Oh, by the way, it's segment 3. I brought a Dr. P as well. I had to. I wanted to do both for this episode, but I got caught up. So in segment 2, we cracked the dude. In segment 3, we hit some Dr. P. All right. I appreciate y'all. Don't forget to go watch Drake Toll Locked On Big 12. He leads the conversation in conference realignment news, and he pulls no punches when it comes to covering the Big 12. He's also a million view man. If you didn't know that, 1 million views in a month. I'm chasing after him. I don't know if I'll get there, but you guys are helping me stay close. I'll see you next time, guys. I'll be back in the morning. I got a couple videos I'm going to do. Let me know what you would prefer in the comments or in Discord. Nico versus Jalen video where I actually break down their games a lot more. Do you want to see more on offensive line that we've got in the room, what that's going to look like? Do you want me to talk about skill players, what I think the offense is going to look like as a whole once it gets put together? Or would you just rather me see a depth chart, my projected early depth chart? What would you rather see? Would you rather see the depth chart for offense, defense, both? Let me know in comments, guys, after the video's over. That way I can give you a legit, I'll have some legit answers for you. Other than that, y'all, as always, thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen. Like I said, I'll see you tomorrow. Let's go Mountaineers, baby. I'm out.